Tell me if you've been here before. You're going through a transition, whether it's in your career or your personal life, and because everything's so chaotic in the moment, you end up leaving all of your routines behind. You kind of start drowning in your own thoughts and anxiety because you know that the next step forward is unknown. You don't know what's gonna happen next. And because of that, you stay stuck where you are and you're not able to move forward. If that sounds like you, we have all been there, but we don't wanna stay there because that's what usually happens whenever we go through any transition. We leave the comfortable phase that we were in, and then you don't know what the next step is, and it's so scary that it ends up paralyzing you instead of you realizing that it's an opportunity to pivot and move forward in a new direction. My name is Belly and I'm all about self-development and improving your mindset. And I really want to touch upon the 5 big things that you should do when you go through a transition like this so you can stay mentally sane and making sure that your next step is going to be better than your last. So the first thing we're gonna wanna do is stick to a routine, because whenever we go through a big change in our lives, we need time to mentally process what's happening, to make sense, to make a plan, to even just wallow and grieve the fact that the phase that we were just in is over, and that's hard to deal with. And because we need that time for ourselves, we end up abandoning the things that usually makes us us and help us carry on and stay mentally good and physically good. Although it makes sense because we need time to move forward in this new phase that we're in, we need to get back into our routine as fast as possible because that's the only way we're gonna be able to move forward with a clear mind. And I'm not saying if you have a 12-step routine that you need to be figuring that out, but if it's something as simple as you do your skincare in the morning or you're used to going to the gym, these are things that are gonna help you ground you to reality, because if not, we are going to live inside of our heads and our thoughts and think of all the possible scenarios. This is a time in your life where you wanna be with yourself in terms of like, I wanna meditate, I wanna plan, I wanna journal, but you do not wanna be with yourself just spending idle time that is not productive, because your mind is going to create so many stories, it's not gonna be good. I'm sure we've all been here before and it has not led us to good places. So learn from the past, realize that if that hasn't worked for you before and it's not gonna work now, okay? If you're thinking productive thoughts, things that are gonna help you move forward, maybe process what just happened, awesome. But if you're just gonna stay in thought loops, daydreaming, thinking of fear, which is what we mostly do, it's not it. So sticking to our routines is what's going to ground us into reality, into the present moment, because regardless of if we're entering a new stage, life is still life. There are things still happening. Life didn't stop just because you went through something big. It's gonna keep moving. So you need to make sure that you can at least move with it so that when you finally snap back into it and just like get out of this little funk that you're in and maybe going through this transition, you don't have a million things piling up because you let it all go while you were going through this. The second is being action driven. And this is something that I am working so freaking hard on, because if you're like me, if I'm ever going through any transition, different things like that, I want to consume as much information as I can. But consuming information is only going to work to a certain extent. What do I mean by consuming information? It can be watching YouTube videos like this one. It can be listening to music, reading books, things that you feel productive that you're moving forward in, which you are. But you need to create action plans so that you can get out of where you are. It forces you like, okay, I'm really unhappy where I am in life right now. It's only gonna change if you do something about it. It's not gonna change if you listen to everything you possibly can and consume all this information and you feel so educated on all these different subjects, but nothing is happening. You have to be the one that makes the change. Even when it comes to manifesting or anything of that sense, you still have to control your thoughts. You can't allow yourself to spiral out of control. Big plans to do this. Okay, but what are you actually doing? And stay focused on that, because those are the things that are actually going to move the needle. And consuming information can honestly even just be talking with friends about like, okay, I think I want to do this, or I think this is the next game step plan for me. Which again, whenever you're going through a transition, there's going to be an emotional side to this that you're going to need to process and deal with and truly talk to yourself and get deep with yourself about where you're actually at. But once you've done that, you need to take the next step, and you need to recognize when you're ready for that next step, versus maybe recognizing that deep down but being like, okay, let me just keep watching a few more videos, maybe let me keep talking to a few more people just to make sure this is really the right path, that I should really, really do this. Because at the end of the day, you know what you need to be doing and no one else. You have an inner voice that is very, very aware, intelligent, wise, and that has a plan for you that only you know about. It's very easy to feel insecure. And you know what makes you feel freaking confident as hell? Doing something about it. Actually taking a step and looking at the end of the day and being like, ooh, I did that and that. Okay, that is what's gonna give you confidence. That's what's gonna help clear your headspace. Also, when you are doing things, you don't have enough time to stay stuck in your head and think of all these possible scenarios because you are out here actually living your life and doing something about it. This is the quickest way to build confidence, and instead of being fearful, taking that energy and turning it into excitement. Fear and excitement is the same energy. All it is directioned in two different places. Oops, sorry. Fear is down here, excitement is up here. It's that same like, jittery emotion, except one is very negative and one is positive. And what's gonna take that from here to here is the action steps that you do to show yourself, I am ready for this next chapter and I have nothing to fear because I got myself. Period. 3 is trusting the process. So this can be hard to do because we want to be in control, and sometimes when we're in our heads, we think that's the control. Our ego tricks us into thinking, oh, we have control if we're thinking about every single thing that can happen, but we're not. Trusting the process, I'll give you an example. Last week, I was on my period and I was just, the hormones were getting to me. I was not feeling my best and I could feel negative thoughts creep in and take over. And I was like, oh, hell no, not here, not now. Get someone else, okay? So what did I do? I was just literally trying to brainwash myself, listening to as many affirmation things as I can, as many things on positivity, as many things relating to what my hope is for the next phase of my life. If you're taking one step and you're just like, okay, I'm going to the gym, or I'm doing this for my mental health, I'm talking to my therapist, but I'm still not feeling good. Do it anyways, because you might not feel good today, you might not feel good tomorrow, but there's gonna be a day where all of this is going to build up and pay off. It doesn't have to be immediate. You just have to keep going and do whatever your daily routine is that you know makes you feel like yourself. That gets you back in the groove. If you're applying to a whole bunch of jobs and you're not seeing results, you need to trust that you're putting the work in and being like, okay, is there anything I need to change in the way that I'm applying to jobs? Maybe I should also be doing this. Maybe I should be watching videos as to that. But don't stay stuck in thinking, oh my gosh, it's not working, so I'm just gonna start freaking out, because how is that getting you any closer to your goals? So if I think this is what happens to me and what I see with the people around me. Whenever we're going through a transition phase like this, that is when the mind is the most out of control, because it is entering new territory and it doesn't know what is happening. It's a free-for-all in here. So the more we can reel it back in, the better. So if you have to be listening to motivational videos, affirmations, anything, do it. Because right now you're gonna be going through a war with your mind. You think it's with the world, it's with your mind in your inner world. Because the world is the same. You can have the same amount of opportunities. Maybe you just went through a breakup. There's still the same amount of men out there or women out there for you. But now you're operating from a fear mindset. Oh my gosh, well this one didn't work out, so maybe the next one won't work out. And it's like, people are falling in love every single day. Clearly it's a possibility. If you just did it, you can do it again. You know, like, so trust the process. One image I absolutely love is this one. Like, you never know how close you are to whatever it is, wherever it is that you're trying to get to. And whenever we're going through periods in life like this is when we get to see who we really are. You think you're tough? Let's see it. You think you're resilient and you have grit? Let's see it. Because these are the times where we're tested. And these are the times where maybe we were comfortable we were at, and now the universe and life just made a switch. So we can look at things from a different perspective, because maybe we need to make a change and we wouldn't have done that if this big incident didn't happen. I'm sure if you look back at your life, you'll see many moments where you have been in periods like this similarly before, and this is when you skyrocketed. This is when you decided to turn a new leaf and head in a new direction. So remember, this is all part of your hero's journey. This is also, you can get to the next phase and look back and be like, I had to go through that. I had to make this switch. 4, we've touched briefly, but it is be ruthless about your thoughts. You need to protect your mind in these phases the most that you possibly can. When everything in your life is going okay and you're like, everything in my life is going good, my mindset is great, life is great, it's a lot easier to be happy and feel in control. But when we're going through these times, it's when we're being challenged. And when we're being challenged, sometimes it's when we tend to let go, because we're like, you know what, I deserve a cheat day, I deserve to binge watch TV and eat all the ice cream I want. But this is when the discipline truly comes in. It's almost like the good moments are a practice, and these moments of transition are the real game we're playing. So instead of being like, this is when I'm gonna start letting myself go and give myself a little leeway, I think it's almost the opposite. Like, yes, like have a little bit of time, have grace with yourself, don't shame yourself into anything. But this is when you should go hard. Whenever you have thoughts coming in like, oh, that won't happen for me, be ruthless. Why wouldn't it happen for me? Good things always happen to me. Like, analyze the thoughts going into your head. Don't just take it for what it is, because your mind loves a good story. So it is gonna take you on for a ride. If you're already feeling kind of low because you're entering a new stage, you think your mind's gonna take you to a happy place or a negative place. You think your mind's gonna be telling you a lot of truths or a lot of lies. So you have to be really vigilant into what you're allowing in your head. You wouldn't allow someone beside you to be talking this way with you. You wouldn't allow kind of like, I don't know, nasty content around you, nasty people. So don't let these nasty thoughts take over. And honestly, most of them you're probably not even aware of. It just comes naturally to you. Like, for example, I had a friend who she never asked me like, oh, do you like how this looks? This looks so good, which is like, that's the energy I'm looking for, you know? She's like, oh, how bad does this look? Like, ew, we are not gonna start, how bad does this look? That's how you're gonna phrase the question? Absolutely not. We are not gonna start with a negative, like how bad? Oh, it doesn't look that bad. Like, no, how good does this look? So we do this in so many ways, tiny little ways that we might not even be recognizing. But I'm telling you, those are the things that can be keeping you stuck. And if you're trying to go to the next level, if you're trying to put yourself in a headspace where the next phase of your life you are winning, you can't be talking to yourself that way. Because the version of you who is in that next chapter of your life and is already settled in and cozy and doing great, you think that's how they're talking to themselves? Absolutely not. And if you want to get there, you can't do it with all this negativity. And we like negativity because it makes us feel comfortable, right? So if I sit here and I'm just like, well, that's it. Life is just tough. Like, I get to sit back because then it's not my fault, because life is tough and this is what happens. Like, okay, yes, life is tough, but I'm fucking tougher. Are you kidding me? Like, there are people out there in war-driven countries and I'm complaining about the situation I'm in. Thank God I'm in the situation I'm in. Oh, hell no. Okay, so do not let your negative thoughts win, because this is the biggest hurdle and obstacle you are facing in this phase. And I want to stress again that you might not even be aware of a lot of these thoughts that are happening, because this might be second nature, and you might have been talking this way to yourself for years, if not your whole life, so you might not even notice. So meditation is a great way for you to pop out and see what you're actually doing, because I promise you, if your friends talk to themselves like this, you would cut them off. You'd be like, I'm sorry, who are you talking to like that? But when you do it to yourself, you think it's normal and it's okay, because you have already normalized it. All right, so you need to take a step back, realize the way you're talking to yourself is not productive or conducive to the life you're trying to create, and stop that and catch yourself. This is not going to be something you do once and you're like, healed, I meditated, thank you so much, I'm a lot better now. This is annoying and this is tough work, because it happens moment to moment and you have to really catch yourself. But if you're able to do this, everything you're doing with your routine, with trusting this is all so you can take control of your mind, because it's gonna lead you down a dark path when you don't know the next step in front of you. It's going to be like, oh, we're going into new territory. That's so scary. I don't know what to do. That's all you're trying to do. You're just trying to control your thoughts. So make sure this is a priority for you and you do not overlook this step because it is the most important, I promise. And the last step is something you need to do whenever you're going through moments like this in your life, which is visualize what the end of this phase looks like for you or what the journey looks like. So if you're going through a breakup, okay, what does the end of this healing process look like for you? Are you going to become a person who maybe recognizes a lot of the subconscious things that they've been suppressing? Is that what your objective is, to understand yourself on a deeper level, to find the love of your life? Or right now, maybe do you just want to take a moment to be with yourself and just focus on your goals and your dreams and maybe understand yourself a little better? If you're going through a transition in your career, what type of career do you want? What are the qualities that you're looking for? What qualities in you, what are your strengths that you want to be utilizing in your next job? How much do you want to be making? Where is it? Is it remote? Answer these questions. Get to the nitty-gritty and get specific on what does your future look like. Because if you don't know where you're going, that's when you're really going to feel lost. Because anywhere is fine, but also anywhere is not fine. Because you didn't actually choose it. You just got handed to it, and life is kind of like, well, you don't know what you're doing, so I don't know what to give you. And you're like, okay. So when you get specific as to what you want into your life, you can start planning in accordance to that. That's the person that I want to be, and she acts like this. He acts like this. So you can start implementing those things into your life and doing that. And if you're trying to attract something or someone into your life, you know now where to go, you know what to do, you know how to act, because you have already thought about this in your head. You have already visualized what the next phase looks like, but you need a plan. And if you don't have one, I would suggest meditating, praying, doing whatever you can to kind of just get more in touch with yourself, journaling, anything self-care related, so that you can see what it is that you truly desire. Because sometimes in phases like this, we actually don't know what we even want the next step to look like. But figuring that out is important to ensure that we're going someplace that actually makes us feel fulfilled, instead of leaving one place where we now feel lost and entering another place where we're gonna feel lost. You don't want to feel lost, jump into something new because you didn't know where to go, and then just end up back into the situation where you're in now, which is this feeling of confusion. You want to get to the next phase already ready, and to do that, you need to know where you're going. If you found this helpful, make sure to like this video and subscribe down below. My name is Belly, and I create all of these self-development and mindset content. So if you're someone who wants to level up, let's do this together. No reason why we should be alone, and follow down below. Anyways, love you.